that the air that we actually breathe at like 40,000 feet, 35,000 feet, it actually comes from the engine. After your revenues from exports, like you mentioned, was 5 crore, 4 crores, 5
We
crores.
started
right?
with 5 crore.
5 crore. Now it is 50 crores.
Ah.
So 10x in 3 years. 2021 financial year, your revenues grow by around 100%. Murthy says that Indian youth should work 60 hours a week. But at the same time, Bill Gates say that it should be 4 days a week internationally. What is your, what is your opinion about this? Hi everyone, the second episode of season 2, Green Sharks. Today we are here with a very interesting company that is coming up with an IPO in a couple of months, and this company's name is KRN Heat Exchangers. What's interesting about this company is that they're into manufacturing, and they are one of a very few companies that's coming directly onto the main board listing with just 6 years, 7 years in operations, and that's a huge feat. If we take the market these days, the companies that's coming onto the main board are mostly service-oriented companies. And when we did the study, on average, it takes 13.5 years of hardcore operations for a company to get listed on the main board. We're not talking about SME because SME is a different category, but we're talking about the main board here. And this company is highly profitable, good margins, and very inspiring revenue growth. Today, we have with us Mr. Santosh Kumar Yadav. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
Thank you.
And so firstly, I want to understand, because look, a company, first item we look for in a company is the promoter. And you have done mechanical engineering, post that you did MBA from IMT Ghaziabad, and then you worked in Lloyd Electric and Engineering Company for a good 13 years, 14 years. And after that, with all that experience, your mechanical engineering background plus business management plus Lloyd's engineering, you culminated all that and you started KRN. Which year was this that you started the company?
Basically, registration we did in 2017 and production we started in June 2018. And I worked in Lloyd, I think 2004 to 2013. Then I left Lloyd 2013. Then I did some like partnership firms for 3 years. उसके बाद बेसिकली अगस्त में मैंने कंपनी का रजिस्ट्रेशन किया. देन वी स्टार्टेड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग in June 2018.
Okay.
Now we I think almost completed 6 years in manufacturing.
So in 6 years directly IPO?
बेसिकली मैंने नहीं सोचा था IPO के लिए कि we will go for IPO, बट मार्केट का जो सिनेरियो था, फिर we learn because मेरा बैकग्राउंड ऑपरेशंस का है, और जैसे जैसे हम आगे बढ़ते रहे फाइनेंस को थोड़ा सीखते रहे, और फिर मार्केट का जो रिक्वायरमेंट है, ऑफ कोर्स इंडिया मार्केट ग्रोइंग, सो वी आल्सो ग्रोइंग, एंड एक्सपोर्ट के लिए भी बेसिकली वी हैव गुड अपॉर्चुनिटी इन यूरोप मार्केट, US मार्केट. So then we feel we need some big capacity to cater the India market as well as Europe and USA.
Okay.
So then we feel we need big money. So that's why we thought we can do IPO and we can take big money, and then we can have new subsidiaries called KRN HVAC Products Private Limited for this money. And if I'm not wrong, I think it will be the biggest facility for heat exchanger in India as well as South Asia.
Okay. So what's interesting is usually promoters think market is at an all-time high and they'll try to encash all this stake. But in your listing, there is no offer for sale. Offer for sale meaning promoters are not selling. Okay. And that is very interesting. And what we understood is that the money that you're getting, what do you want to be utilizing it for?
Majorly, as I said, we have new subsidiary for KRN Heat Exchanger. It's called KRN HVAC Products Private Limited. So I think around 234 crore we will invest in new 100% subsidiary and balance IPO expenses and general corporate affairs.
Okay. So now coming to the business, IPO is one side. I want to come to the business, because now what's important for any IPO company is your revenues, the growth and margins and the future. So firstly, I want to understand the value chain of the product that you do. Okay. Can you explain the value chain, meaning the what do you produce, what does it go into, and who are the end customers, and what is the utility of all these products?
Yeah. Basically, we manufacture fin and tube type heat exchanger. So it's maybe a different type heat exchanger, but majorly it's called HVAC and R industry. So heating, ventilation, and air conditioning industry. So this industry use our products. We call fin and tube type. So human life care around whatever you will see like bus air conditioning, railway, metro, air cooled chiller, data center cooling, water cooler, deep freezer, room air conditioning, heat pump, even logistics like food chain like cold rooms, and then truck refrigeration. So these all applications they use our products.
Okay.
So like heating and ventilation and air conditioning. So in case of heating, like US and Canada and Europe they have cold, so they use as a in terms of heating. And India, like North India, we use sometime heating and sometime in cold also.
Okay. So this how you, from what I understand, like you said, you manufacture heat exchangers. Heat exchangers goes into heating, ventilation, air conditioning, all these equipments, and that is used in railways, buses, trucks, cars.
You can say ki our is the component, so we supplying like bus air conditioning. So they make bus air conditioning complete, and then they bus air conditioning supply to bus body builder.
Okay.
So similar like metro.
Okay.
So we supplying to our heat exchanger to HVAC component complete manufacturer.
Okay.
They will make a complete HVAC and then they supply.
Okay. So
to
sorry. So
body
you
builder.
make this component in HVAC, and that AC
No,
company.
we make only heat exchanger.
Okay.
And we supply to complete HVAC manufacturer.
Okay. And that HVAC manufacturer supplies to the OEM.
OEMs
Of the buses.
Yeah,
Let's say Ashok Leyland or
yes.
whatever. Okay. Okay.
Ours also supplying to B2B only mainly.
Okay.
So business to business. So it's like main customer we supplying to Daikin, Schneider,
Okay.
Blue Stars,
Okay.
Kirloskar Chillers.
Okay. That's Indian companies, meaning Indian subsidiaries
in
of theirs, or international as well?
They have outside Indian manufacturing. Of course, they have abroad also, like in Europe. So we supplying to Europe, USA, and UAE market and India market.
Okay. Okay. And so, just understanding how this heat exchanger works from very basic understanding, not an engineer.
Yeah.
So it is used to change cool air into hot air or hot air into cool air. But through, and there will be a liquid which might be hot. Let's say it's a hot liquid, and cool air gets exchanged, and those fins, that's fin and tube that you said, this is the location where that exchange happens, heat transfer happens. So the cool air becomes hot on the other side, while the liquid which goes in becomes hot, becomes cool.
Basically, heat exchanger is called like they transfer the heat. So it can be hot, it can be cold, and fluids. It can be refrigerant, it can be water. Sometimes it can be some different like glycol as well. So basically, it's chain like that's compressors and then evaporation and then condensing. So it's a complete cycle. So we make condensers and evaporator or sometimes heating.
Okay.
So the complete cycle is run, and in complete cycles, two products is ours.
Okay.
It's called condenser and evaporators.
Okay.
And fluid can be sometimes water, sometimes refrigerants. So we make all applications.
Okay. Okay. So you said that you supply to railways and industries. So let's say that heat exchange that you manufacture and you pass on, you supply. What is the value of that in an air conditioner or a ventilator or a ventilation system?
It depend on system. Like we mainly make for all bigs and commercials products like data center cooling, air cooled chillers. Of course, railway we are so it's depend. Like if you compare to room air conditioning, it can be maybe 10% of the total product value.
10%.
10%,
Okay.
And sometime if like technology items, it can be 20%. Sometimes so you can maybe assume 10 to 20% is the total product value if we compare to in complete system price.
Okay, this 10% is like heavy volume products, and 20% is like most customized and industrial type products.
Yes.
Okay, and so if you look, the market in itself in India is much smaller compared to the US and developed countries, and this air ventilation, air conditioning is at the very nascent stages in India. So if the country is growing at 7.5%, you know the other countries are growing at 3%. UK has already entered recession. Barring that, if India is growing at a 7.5%, 8% GDP, at what rate would the HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning, and refrigeration, that industry grow at?
As per my view, actually, in India, actually two segments. One called room air conditioning and second called commercial. So mainly we manufacture commercial heat exchanger. So if talk about like percentage, I think room air conditioning we are growing around 10% per annum, but of course commercial we are growing around 20 to 25%. So our product is in this 20 to 25%.
Okay.
And even this calls like data center cooling, bus air conditioning, air cooled chillers, cold room. So this segment we are supplying. So
Okay.
you can say ki if you see our growth, that's why we achieve. India is growing, and then we make basically the system. Our some of customer they earlier buying from even outside, even from Europe and USA and China. So we replace them actually because they need a reliable product. With in heat exchanger basically you can say like fluid run and gas run. So it must be reliable. Maybe after 3 or 4 years, there should be zero leak.
Okay.
So that actually need confidence. So that's why we first, because of my operation background, so we develop good things. Then we go to the customers, and then they feel after 1 year, 2 year, the product is good. Then we are supplying to them continually. So they're growing, we are growing.
So, sir, to summarize what you just said, if India is growing at 8%, the commercial industry, like industries, example, in the industrial, they will be growing at 20-25%.
Yes.
And you are supplying to them.
Yes.
So even if let's say construction residential is only growing at a very small rate, that does not really matter to you.
Construction like hotels and big malls and then hospitals, so they use our product actually.
Okay. So and so like when you come to heat exchangers, like technically from what I've understood, there are 5 types of heat exchangers. One is shell and tube, and second is spiral, third is plate, and there is special, and there is fin and tube, and there is one more that I cannot recall. So you are into fin and tube.
As of now, we are in fin and tube only. So, but in fin tube also there is like multiple variants like aluminum to aluminum, copper to aluminum, and then copper to copper. So we make copper and aluminum, and aluminum to copper both. But in new subsidiary we are adding the new variants as well. It's for called roll bond. Also it's for use in refrigerator, and then one plate and bar type also is the heavy duty heat exchanger. So mainly used in oil coolers, like in trains and like aerospace industry.
Okay. What is that air cooler?
It's called oil coolers.
Oil coolers. Okay.
So they mainly use in aerospace industry, and then use in Indian Railway as well.
Okay. So this aircraft you mentioned, so basically it would be surprising for people to know that the air that we actually breathe at like 40,000 feet, 35,000 feet, it actually comes from the engine. And how it happens is the engine, it pulls the air from the front and it compresses it, and then it ignites with fuel, and that causes a lot of energy. And with that energy, the thrust is created for an aircraft from both the engines or 4 engines, depending on the aircraft. But a part of air, so which is sucked in and then it is compressed, a part of that is actually going into the cabin. And between this compressing stage and going to the cabin, there is heat exchangers involved. Okay, so I'll come to what value are you adding, or do you plan to? That is one. And after that heat exchanger, to further reduce the temperature, it goes into air control management system, which further reduces the temperature, because obviously you can't breathe hot air inside an aircraft. So into these two machines, is your product, like, do you supply to aircrafts any of these products, or if you're not, like, do you plan to in the future with the new IPO proceeds?
As of now, we are not supplying. Like as of now, this fin and tube we are supplying to marine applications and seashore application, of course. But aircraft we are not supplying to them. But this bar and plate we will try to supply, because to supply aerospace you need more validation. It will take some time, maybe 2-3 years.
Okay.
Hopefully we will try after 2-3 years.
Okay.
To first we will develop, then we will go to customer for reliability testing, and then we can able to supply.
Do you think like margins in this area would be much greater?
Of course, these marine applications and huge margin. You cannot compare in percentage as well.
But aircraft would be even greater or slightly lower than?
No, aircraft of course is huge margin. Okay. But you have to invest like in R&D and reliability testing. Before to supply. That is also investments. But we will try on that line also.
Great. So one thing we look for is if a company is getting export orders, and that too from very renowned OEM players, that means they have something. Because if an international client comes, they have different parameters. For example, for an FDA to approve a drug, and for any other developing country to approve a drug, for example, it's different metrics. FDA is much more stringent. So my point is, even for an aircraft component or even the smallest camshaft that goes into an engine, the process of approving something is very rigorous. So, and you're saying that you're exporting. So, have these customers actually come into the factory? Have they visited, placed orders based on that? Like, what are the things they look for?
Actually, export we do develop like that. Ki first we approach. Actually, we doing lot of exhibition in Europe and USA. Almost in a year we do almost 3 to 4 exhibition in especially Europe and USA. So after they understand our products or understand our factory, then we have some conversion. Then sometime they also come. So almost each month 1 or 2 customer almost they are visiting to us. And after that we supplying to our like prototype. Then they will test. Sometimes they test even 1 year, 2 year, and then they understand, okay, the now product is okay, reliability is okay, and then we start. So it's continue. So if you see our in export growth, like in 2021 we did almost 4
5
crore,
crores, yes.
and then we next year we did almost 15 crore, then we did 30 crore. This year we are going to achieve almost 50 crore.
So you're just
So,
doubling the exports
yeah,
orders.
so
Okay, now tell me one thing: is it the same customers, exports market I'm talking about? Is it the same customers or is it new customers?
same customer is continue, and
Okay.
new customer we are adding.
Okay.
So if number of customer, if you see like our average is each month we are adding 2 new customers.
Wow.
But
Okay,
of
now
course,
sorry
then in India, small customer we are not supplying.
Okay.
So then we choose to whom we can supply, like right customer for our futures to continue. So now you can say we selected big OEMs in
Okay.
India, and then export, of course.
So you are choosing whom to work with.
Yes, because for future you have to need like regular customers.
That's true.
Then each month you have some order and then a good margin, of course.
Now you said 2 customers you're adding per month,
Yes.
but on the tail end, are you losing customers?
No, not losing. Like early when we started business, so that time the big OEM cannot connect with you because they need some maybe background also to whom you are supplying and from since we are from. So we started with the small customers, and even from local market you can say replacement market.
Okay.
So of course their customer name in our list, but now we are not supplying because of now we have big OEMs and we want to be work with OEMs in more knowledge, like of course in R&D, in reliability testing. So now we cannot make like low cost products, but aftermarket and like small they need the low cost that we cannot, because now we are importing 100% material in terms of like copper tube mainly for big brands and brazing rods and all things. So we have to maintain like good material in terms of reliability and quality. But so that's why we choose like big OEM only.
Okay. And so in these international markets, what is the biggest threat you feel? Because there are competitors, right? For example, I'm not sure if they do the exact same product, but they are into heat, ventilation, air conditioning. The name is Alpha Level. And not just competition, but they are indicating, because you don't do con calls, you're just doing the IPO. And hopefully when you list, you would do con calls. But they are guiding that 2024. They're a Swedish-based company. You would be knowing about Alpha Level. They're saying that 2024 is going to be very muted for this HVAC industry. And you are saying that it's going to grow at, like, if all goes well, you're assuming that it will grow at 20% if India is growing at 8%. So that's a huge disparity. Like, one is flat, Europe is completely flat, and India is growing at 20%. So what do you think of that?
No, of course they like first Alpha Level is not making our products. They make different type heat exchanger. So first thing, second thing, because of this Russia and Ukraine war, so Europe have no growth almost, and US also is stable, but their market is already in peak. So, but in India there is a lot of opportunity. So India is growing. So in India, of course, it will grow, have to grow. And if we take like a small percentage in Europe market and USA, so for us market is new, so there is a lot of opportunity for us because they have existing supplier, but we want to maybe take percentage from existing supplier.
Okay.
And especially for USA, we have very good things. Earlier they might buying mainly from China.
Okay.
But now they have duty 25% on China product.
25%.
25%. So that is good things for us.
That even other products are having now. For example, you take very sophisticated machineries like heat exchangers, but then you take even recycled paper or like materials based of bamboo. It is 25%, 30% import duty they have.
Yeah.
So it's many products that after Trump's administration, after
Yes,
the
yes.
previous administration, they've come up
So
with a lot of
Trump did this 25%.
Yeah.
So, but actually our product is not like that. Key catalog item is not there. So it's the customized. So that's why we even last month we did the AHR Expo in Chicago, and I spent almost 3 weeks there to understand customer requirements. So new machinery we are adding in our new facility for
Okay.
especially for USA market.
Okay.
So once developed, then they have lot of requirement.
Okay. Now, because you said US market clients and China,
Yes.
I want to ask you something related. Let's say you mentioned Daikin Snyder, a lot of Kirloskar and Kirloskar is supplied to?
Kirloskar, Chiller,
Yes.
Blue Star.
So I don't want to take the name specifically, but let's say customer A, US based customer. What percentage of these heat exchangers do they import from China currently versus India or versus other markets? Like I want to see if they import $100 worth, how much is it from India, how much is it from China?
That data, to be honest, I don't have.
Okay.
But things is like that, they are buying from China or they buying from local supplier.
Okay.
So if you compare like from China, we are almost 25% now less. If they will reduce, then still we will be the less. Secondly, if they buy from local supplier. So local supplier, because of this labor cost, they are expensive compared to us.
Okay.
So that is the good things. If we can have to like compete to China, we can easily, because 25% the difference. And for local supplier, they are already expensive from us. So for us, I think if we will get same product, I think they can get good cost, and of course they need reliable product. So that's why we are working on that.
Okay. Okay. No, China after the 2000, so from 2000 to I think 2020, they were booming and the economy was expanding 10% odd throughout. But then after COVID, it was slump, and then the previous administration, the US came, they banned a lot of products, anti-China sentiments kicked in. But India, what the problem is, the obviously during that time in China, the labor cost also increased. Now it is not feasible for them to get the products produced in China at the same cost. India is cheaper, Bangladesh might be cheaper. I'm talking about different industries, not just heat exchangers. But India, what we find an issue, and we visited several factories, and what we find is that the replicability process system is lacking in some companies.
Yes.
So how is your company placed in that? Because when it comes to exports, they want 100% accuracy. You cannot just make up the product and send to them in so it has to be.
You actually touch correct point. This is the main things in manufacturing actually.
Yes.
Because earlier they thought ki from India we cannot make right product, and maybe we can make only one time, and then maybe next supply there will be some issue. Sometime they have like earlier we have maybe you can so maybe less knowledge, or we understand ki they can use, because we can sell on less price, but we cannot give like right quality. But you can see like my background is operation only, so that is my strength only, because our USB like QCD, quality, cost, and delivery. So that's why we maintain the things. And if in India we are doing like big OEM, because Schneider is also from outside, Daikin also. Okay. And our line, in our line like HVAC. So Daikin is the big brand, because they are, I think they are number one in the world for HVAC products, and their requirement is in terms of quality, maybe also number one. So, and my main supply to Daikin India. So our process, our people, so we all set like a Japanese. So that's why we work on our process each day, every day. And then we developed our product such things ki we can meet international requirement. So in my, if you, to be honestly, we feel something like that ki if we can supply to Daikin, so we can supply to everybody in the world. That's true. And that we are achieving without any issue, because US market and Europe market, if you can maybe supply one time, but after one supply, you maybe like some have problem, so they will not repeat order. And if you see our background, so all customers have like repeat order. Each month we have order. They really appreciate us. Okay, so just to to close this export chapter, your revenues from exports, like you mentioned, was 5 crore, 4 crores, 5 crores. We started with 5 crores. 5 crore. Now it is 50 crores. So 10x in 3 years, 2021, 2024. But I think in next year maybe we'll set up this new unit. But after this new unit, you will see maybe multiple X for sure. Okay.
So exports went from 5 crores to 50 crores, and percentage from 5% in 2021, like entire revenue, it was 5%. Now it is 15% of your revenues come from exports. Yes. Okay. So completely switching the topic, coming back to India, because India itself is the land of opportunities, like you just said. Like you said, you supply to buses. That's why I'm asking this question. Even trains, government is placing a lot of focus on trains, and in the budget they keep mentioning the railways. So, but coming to buses again, in India, when we did our research, for 1,000 people, there's only 1.2 buses, and in states like Bihar, you take it is 0.02 buses, 0.02 buses per 1,000 people. Okay, now and India is government is focusing on getting electric buses into the grid, into the system, and it doesn't matter if it's electric or petrol diesel buses, right? Your product is being supplied there. So if this industry is growing, like buses are growing, what is your, firstly, I don't know if you can give the exact figure, what is your market share, and how would you be growing when this
Market
area grows?
share, maybe I cannot judge, but to be honest side, like earlier we are supplying, maybe since first year we supplying to bus air conditioning to majors OEM,
Okay.
and of course majors here, and then I think after 3 years they developed electric AC. So there is a different type of heat exchanger. It's like a slight type, like maybe with the incline. So maybe we are the first to develop this condenser for bus air conditioning industry in India, and now we are supplying almost all OEMs. They make like bus air conditioning to India market, and we supplying to like normal bus air conditioning as well as for electric both. So market is growing, so of course our product is also growing. So that is the reason we are growing.
And so I want to I want to go back to 2017 and draw a timeline of the factory that you set up. Like, is it possible to express in terms of capacity? Is it the right word? Capacity. That
Yeah, capacity.
Okay, capacity. Then you set up the factory in 2018. Sorry, 2017 you started the company. 2018 you set up the factory, and after that, now you've set up a couple of months ago. You set up a new factory, and after IPO, you plan to add another facility on top of this. So from 2018, can you take the timeline from 2018 and explain all the way to post IPO? What would you be doing with the new funds?
When we started 2018, so we started with this facility, this plot, and then each year we bought one new plots, and then we adding new machinery and new technology, means like in terms of our for big products like different bendings, whatever market requirement. So each year we are adding in terms of facility like plots, and in terms of adding machinery. And for these funds we will have, as I told you earlier, new subsidiaries called KRN HVAC Products Private Limited. So we are adding new products as well for refrigerator, for oil cooler, and existing facility new machines. So this will be the like biggest facility for India heat exchanger, almost 72,000 square meter.
The biggest in India for heat exchangers?
For heat exchanger, like professional sellers. Maybe big OEM they have good facility, but we are on the component seller. So we don't have our own product. So that's why I'm saying this word biggest, because our land after this new facility almost 23 acres. And we already had land now. We already started construction as well since 2 months.
Okay. And so, look, it depends all on markets, but how much do you look to raise from the market during this IPO? Figure any?
Should be around I think 300 crore.
Okay, and that will be used just for the capex?
234 crore we will use in new subsidiary.
Okay, so that's only for plant machinery land of the new. So, and that facility will produce new lines, new products that goes into refrigeration.
Additional these products like new lines, new geometry technically, and new products as well is called plate and bar heat exchanger, and then roll and audio cutter.
Okay, so fin and tube you're going to plate and
fin and tube one of type. Second is the plate and bar type.
Okay,
so this is also one of type heat exchanger. So mainly used in like oil cooling systems. It can be train, it can be even this aerospace. Okay. So it's completely new line itself. Yes, new product. New product. Yes.
Okay, great. And so, what is the capacity utilization currently of the current facility? this
like
facility?
actually we have different lines.
Okay.
So if in term of capacity utilization, it should be around 60%.
Okay.
But to be honest, we have less space to keep like finished good and raw material. So lines we have, so that's why we need new space. But there is no issue with like orders and.
Okay. And so many factories we visited, like some are having huge demand. For example, we visited a company that's into bioxide oriented polypropylene. It's basically packaging, BOPP. And they were doing 3 shifts a day. And some company we went the other day that's into telecom, they have a huge facility, but they're doing 1 shift a day. And so in your case, how many shifts do they
Yeah,
do?
we are also working 24 hours.
Oh, 3 shifts.
Yeah,
Okay.
24 hours.
Okay. Saturday,
And
Sunday?
6 days.
6 days.
6 days.
Okay. Sunday you need a break.
On a Sunday, people also need break.
And for the record, we're shooting this on a Saturday.
Just
Just
because
for the
Saturday
record.
actually international markets is
Right.
also have leave, so we
Yeah.
can have some maybe time to.
Absolutely.
do
Absolutely.
this.
Absolutely. And so I want to break this down. Like in 2021 financial year, your revenues grew by around 100%. Then it increased by around 60 to 70% in year two, in 2022, sorry. And in FY23, FY24, your revenues increased by around 30%.
Yes.
So what is the reason for the growth? I know I asked the same question for exports, but is it the same clients giving you new orders, or is it new clients being added? I think you've answered this, but then if you could clarify for the
It's,
entire company.
I think both. The reason is maybe you can say my background is operations, so that is the big thing. Then we focus on QCD, quality, cost, and delivery. So our existing customer का जो demand is growing, of course, and we are adding new customer as well. So both way we are working.
So in FY22, your revenues compared to 2021 increased by around 100%. Basically, you doubled. And in 2023, you added another 60% growth in the top line. Margins will come later. Then FY24, if we do annualized basis, you're going to be doing a 30% growth. So this growth, this new orders, is it coming from existing clients or like giving you new orders, or is it new clients being added? You've answered this question, like you said, clients we adding per month, but I want to understand on a company level.
And two clients like whatever adding, it means is they are not giving order very first year. Adding means we receive maybe sample PO or development order. So maybe mass production will start after 2 years or 3 years.
Okay.
Because they will need to time to validate our product for reliability testing in their laboratory and then field trials, all things. About revenue growth, of course, the reason is my background is operations. Second, we focus on QCD, quality, cost, and delivery. And the order we are receiving from existing customer in growth, of course, what they are growing, so we are receiving. And then second, additional we are from new customers. That is the reason we are growing.
So then, look, there is a saying that Foxconn or Wistron that manufactures for Apple, the cost of the iPhone is only $10, but they sell it for $1,000. And they say that manufacturing as a value addition is actually very less. It's mostly about the software, the branding. But you're doing a PAT margin of 13%, PAT margin, and EBITDA margin of around 18 to 19%. So, and the trend has been increasing with time. Maybe operational efficiency has kicked in, OPEX has kicked in. So, what is the reason behind this? Is it something that you're working more shifts, like operational efficiency, like I just mentioned, or is it any other reasons, like process systems management?
If you like start from earlier and increase, of course, operation excellence is there because our like maybe labor cost is decreased, and then we optimize our purchase cost, and then we acquire new customer like good margins, especially in export. So US market we have good margins, Europe market we have good margins compared to India.
Okay, so if you can quantify it, like exports margin versus domestic margins, if you can.
You can say cannot quantify, but it is almost double. If we compare to India market, so we can get almost double from export business.
Okay.
Of course, that for that we have to like work good in term of quality and delivery and reliability. So that we are doing. So you can say we are achieving from hard working because we can supply best product or reliable product. So and mainly we work in not mass production item like batch production or commercial products. So these category have good margins compared to the mass production like room air conditioning.
So, but if I were to try to quantify it,
Mhm.
15% is exports and overall company EBITDA margin is 19%. So it would be around 25, 26% just for exports. It's not, I'm
checked
calculating
data, but
this. Yeah.
that's why we are focusing on more in export.
Yeah.
Of course, big OEMs or like level OEMs, we are continuing with them, and
Okay.
we are trying to maybe one or two OEMs we are not supplying to, we are trying to put them also in our books. But
And the
of course,
margin depends on the product and the industry that you're supplying to. Like
Yeah.
high volume would be low margins, industrial specialized would be
low
high
volume
margins.
you can get more margins.
Mm.
So basically, we focus on customized product. Like we do like designing as well. If sometimes customer need like they need okay maybe in term of reliability or in term of maybe efficiency more. So we can do design as well.
Okay, okay. And so I might be repeating this part of the question, but you're setting up the new facility
Yes.
and you're saying it, and it will come up after you've done the IPO raise.
Almost
When will
after
it come?
1 year.
After 1 year.
Mm.
But then the new products, have the testing started? Because you said it takes 2 years for the testing development stage.
No, it's not like that because after we start now, so first maybe we'll sell to local market or maybe small OEMs, so they don't need to testing, and then slowly we maybe going to big OEMs.
Okay, okay. So the testing and development phase should be
First we will
introduced.
do our in-house testing because we will also put laboratory.
Okay.
So like quite maybe mandatory test we can do in-house,
Mm.
and then after okay all things okay, then we can launch the product in local market and small OEMs, and then we can go to the big OEMs.
Okay, okay. And so this market, like I said, is $15.6 billion, and we're seeing much of the demand being shifted to APAC, and India is growing. So in India specifically, you said commercial would be faster growing at 20%, let's say. But then in the commercial space, which would be the fastest growing industry? Would it be data centers? Would it be?
Yeah, very side say if you maybe I add value addition, so maybe data center cooling also is growing, bus air conditioning
Would it be
also.
the fastest?
That I don't have data, but data center cooling, bus air conditioning, cold rooms, and then the truck refrigerations. These are growing industry.
So this you said
Even metro,
okay.
even train.
You supply to trains as well?
Yeah, actually we're not
Is it
supplying to
railways
directly
or
train, but we're supplying to OEMs. They
Okay.
make HVAC for train and for metro.
Okay, so
So we supply.
the railways, that doesn't have any sophisticated cooling system, or do they? Like, do you supply to railways?
No, we're not supplying to railway directly.
Okay.
We're supplying for railway industry.
Okay. So you supply to the OEM
Yeah,
that,
and they make HVAC for railway industry like that.
but indirectly you supply to
Yeah, of
railways
course.
and the metro.
Metro like
And the trucks.
Pune metro is our heat exchanger 100%.
Yes.
Even Agra Kanpur is also our products.
Okay, okay.
And of course Indian Railways also.
So all the faster growing, whatever is mentioned, the budget that industry is supplying to. Railways, trucking, that's industries growth, manufacturing
And
growth.
trucking also new rules. Maybe in coming financial year they have to like all trucks cabin should be air conditioning.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Like all new trucks.
Yeah.
Their cabin must be, I think, this
air conditioning.
Air conditioning. So there's new rules by government.
Okay.
So then they will also use our products.
Okay. And so then I want to come to the conclusion of this discussion. So what is your vision for the next 10 years, if I may ask?
10 year, I cannot say 10 year, but of course 5 year we fix our vision. So we will be the, I think, largest heat exchanger manufacturer in terms of turnover, in terms of facility, like capacity, South Asia number one facility we want to be. And
who would be number one in the world? Meaning, if we take the world, who's currently number one there?
In the US is called Modin, correct?
Modin, okay.
Yeah, they are the number one, I think, in the world.
Okay, that's into fin and tube.
Fin and tube, I'm talking about.
Okay.
And they have micro channel also. They 2 or 3 type products, but professional heat exchanger manufacturer, they are number one in the world. USA based facility. So at least we in 5 years we want to be number one in South Asia.
Do you think when you increase capacity and when you essentially margin is supposed to increase, but if there is space for growth, new competition will come? Do you foresee, of course, you cannot give any numbers or anything, I'm not looking for that, but do you think the margins will shrink eventually?
Margin will increase because we now focusing to mainly to US and Europe market. So as I told you before, almost we can get double margin compared to India market. So now focusing to US and Europe because their labor cost compared to us almost 10 times high. Because our product have need labors, so that's why.
I'm going to the exports chapter just because the margins are higher. Again, I'm going back to the exports chapter. Do you have a vision, let's say next 3 years, I want to make it 30% export, 70% domestic? Do you have any such?
No, if you see like our growth path in terms of export, so we want to be like just double compared to last year each year. For that, we are working on new geometry. Of course, we have like one sales rep in Europe, and now we are going to open US as well, maybe in coming few months. I also like visited some of place to get the warehouse in USA. So hopefully we will have maybe after 3-4 months warehouse facility because US market the customer need warehouse.
Okay.
Actually, they have like manufacturing capability. Let's be like that. They need material direct online or weekly basis.
Okay.
So
just in time kind of.
Just in time. So
Okay.
that's why we need warehouse facility. So
Okay.
we are trying to buy or maybe rent it some facility. Then we will put our material there, and then we can supply on a weekly basis. So
Okay.
then we can grow our market very fastly.
Okay. So to conclude, export will be your next leg of growth because margins are higher. Domestic industry will grow. Indian economy will take care of it, and you're expanding. The new proceed that's coming from IPO will go into setting up the new facility. Okay. And so now completely shift. I just wanted to ask you a fun question. Narayana Murthy says that Indian youth should work 60 hours a week. But at the same time, Bill Gates say that it should be 4 days a week internationally. What is your, what is your opinion about this?
No, my actually to be honest, personal opinion should be like that. We should work 6 days as of now, maybe till next 10 years, and 8 to 10 hours. Not so hard, but at least India because need now more focus on work. So at least next 10 years till developed.
Yes.
So we have to work at least 10 years, 10 hours in a day.
No, the problem is our employees and people in India, they're thinking that, the developed countries are doing it, so they should be right. 4 days work week, Sweden, other countries, and even the Middle East, they're giving half day on a Friday, etc. And 8 hours, 8 hours, 7.5 hours. But people don't realize that during the industrialization phase in the UK, even like teenagers and the very youngsters used to work 7 days non-stop, 10-12 hours. And that's how they build the country, and now they can afford to relax, go into leisure mode. But we are in developing country, but then we want to mimic the.
No, that's why I use like at least 10 years we have to work for 10 hours at least per day.
Yes.
After 10 years, maybe when developed, then we can maybe give some relaxation on that. Now is the time to India, so at least we have to work next time.
Exactly. That's why you're shooting on a Saturday.
Yes.
So great, sir. I think I've covered every aspect of your business. Anything that you would like to share with the audience?
My side like that, now it's time to India, of course, which I said. So we are putting new facility, big facility, because earlier thought China can supply to all the world. But as per my opinion, now the next 10 years must be India time. So that's why I am putting new big facility to cater the world requirements.
Great.
In terms of heat exchanger.
Great, sir. Lovely. So all the best, and thank you very much for taking time and inviting us to your facility. And thank you very much, sir. Looking forward to doing it again. Thank you.